welcome.
Bienvenue.
Friday Night Insights FNI, week 5, if I'm counting right.
Yes.
So we've crossed the midway point, if you will.
Now the season's going fast. Even though 2 weeks ago you said it wasn't.
Yeah, and now it is.
Every team's mathematically still in it, though, when it comes to high school football.
Yeah, everybody could run off 5 in a row right now.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Except, they can't, but they could.
Sure.
Whatever. East Peoria at Metamora, 125-0 the last 2 years, I'm told.
Yeah, 50-0 last year.
Which team had the 125?
That'd be Metamora.
Okay.
East Peoria's improved from last year, obviously. I mean, I see it being a little bit closer than 50-0 or 75-0, but I just don't know if East Peoria has the horses. They made a lot of mistakes last week against Morton.
I'm still of the impression they have a speed problem from the Birch Day.
Yeah,
Is
they
that
do.
True?
Like, a little on defense. They do overall, but
pursuit.
They're really they're an extremely tough team. I mean, they hit as hard as anybody as I've seen this year, from the safety spot all the way up to the front. Even their backs, like Bryce Colvin and Nate Joseph, those guys pound you when they run the ball. And they're running belly stuff and G and power and just like basic stuff, but they're just overpowering people, and they won't be able to do that this week against Metamora.
Woodruff goes. I think they leave right now.
Yeah,
they're arrive at Quincy.
En route to Quincy.
Time for a 7 p.m. kick against the.
There's a walkthrough in the story.
Really never beaten Notre Dame Raiders down there, whatever they are.
Richwoods is the only team from up here that's been able to solve that equation so far.
That is an intimidating place to play, though. I mean, you're going to get a crowd of 5,000 in there, and it's going to be rocking.
Well, it's weird. I mean, it's a 4A school. They're a decent-sized 4A school, but the field isn't really that impressive. It's kind of just a little field out in the middle. Because it's different. They used to play in that big stadium that Flynn, I believe it is.
Yeah.
But they moved it to the high school.
Oh, okay.
And now it looks like El Paso Gridley. I mean, it's really kind of just on one side hardly has any bleachers. The scoreboard's like in the middle of the field, like a soccer field almost. And if you're on the visiting sideline, you gotta like turn your back to look at the scoreboard. It's behind you.
So, where are the Warriors right now? I mean, I read the paper today, and Tim Thornton looks like he's thinking about formations.
Yeah.
Everybody else is talking about, crying near their locker at Woodruff. They got the announcement the other day that, they're in their last year. I was refreshed by Tim's attitude of like, we got to move on. We got to make the most of the moment. And yet, their sked scores aren't too impressive on the year.
I mean, the one thing that they probably can take into a Q&D game that is some speed, which they have the last two or 3 years. Mm-hmm. And they've actually scored more points than any opponent over the last 3 years against Q&D than any other opponent has. They've been able to, so I'm looking for Woodruff to maybe spread them out a little bit and try to get to the edges and use that speed, be it in little dump passes or draws or some way to get those big guys spread out. Somehow to use it. I mean, if they can execute, they can keep it close. The problem is, I don't know if they can execute.
44-21 Notre Dame?
Maybe somewhere it could be in that range. It's gonna be high scoring, in my opinion. That's for sure.
Yeah, I think it'll be high scoring too. And speaking of Q&D, keep an eye out in Friday's paper for a big scheduling announcement with another area power. We won't give it away.
Another area power.
Yeah.
Sound like I know this stuff. That's why I get the paper. Pekin goes to Dunlap. Pekin would like to be home by 8:30. Dunlap likes to keep people there till 11.
Not gonna happen.
Pekin Dunlap, the one dad of a player I know is like, yeah, our season resumes now after 2 weeks off. They went to that side of the river.
Yeah.
And they didn't compete. They kind of knew in the back of their minds going in they weren't going to compete.
Right.
I'm not talking about the players, it was this parent. And now they're at a game they can win, and a game you would actually consider them a little bit favored. But I just feel like Pekin's going to spring one somewhere within this season.
Yeah, this kind of feels like it's it. Dunlap's been reeling. They've scored 2 points the last 2 weeks.
Yeah.
And Pekin's shown some signs of being able to put some stuff together. And I get the feeling, it's just my personal feeling, that Dunlap's kind of feeling sorry for itself a little bit. Mm-hmm. Licking wounds after obviously they played Metamora in Washington, but you can't and Dunlap's kind of done this that's Alderman was experienced in it. He knew that, hey, we're going to have a rough start. But we got to be able to keep with it because the last half of our schedule is much easier than the first half. So, but this is a perfect time. I think a Pekin team on the rise and a Dunlap team maybe on the way down to catch them at the right time.
We've not said Canton at Morton in that league yet.
Canton is really struggling. I mean, they switched to a sophomore quarterback, Jake Randall, last week. Justin Miller kind of knows this is a rebuilding year. And I mean, they went to Limestone last week and almost got mercy clocked against another winless team. So they're learning right now.
Washington goes to Limestone and would, as we said after they got done with Metamora, figures to keep rolling through.
Sure. Yeah, I mean, that's the Washington a little bit. I was surprised that they didn't necessarily put away Dunlap last week. But again,
listen to that game on the radio. I mean, there was never
really.
I mean, it just sounded like the Underwood brothers just kept coming after Schrader. I mean, it was just they were relentless. And
Limestone have any bounce out of its win?
They might. I mean,
the anti-Dunlap team mentality.
They're going to have to fight the half of the Journal Star jinx to do it. But.
Yeah, I mean, they got some guys. Seth Clarahan, Tyler Ashby, Caleb Boyer, Dylan Hurst. Limestone has a shot to stop them a couple times, but
yeah.
I don't know if they'll score.
The Notre Dame Irish, after just not even making their rival play at all, go to the same place at the same time this week, and Central's on the other side.
Yeah, again, Notre Dame will have played more games at Richwood Stadium than Richwood's, just like Rock Falls has as well. So this is just a couple of teams licking wounds, and I mean, both of them should be ready to win. I think Notre Dame is a little more put together, obviously, than a team like Central full of sophomores, and just, I mean, maybe they'll get a little bounce from their school being saved here and have something to play for.
Richwood's at Manual, they'll go to Peoria Stadium, and coaches never like to talk about moral victories, but I feel the same about East Peoria at Metamora. Yeah. It's a litmus test for Manual to do things within the game. They're not going to win this game.
No.
What might they do within the game, do you think?
Grow a little bit offensively, because defensively they haven't necessarily just been. I mean, teams just don't run them over.
Yeah. I
mean, they've always, even in their worst years, the last few years, they haven't been that way. They won a game last year 8-7. They'll lose 20-6, and it'll be a fumbled punt, or it'll be a mistake here. And it's just
a lot of possessions where you do stop somebody.
Yeah.
In high school with all that time.
Exactly. So it's a situation where if they can get some things moving offensively and stay within, I mean, make it a 42.
Is Watson
14,
back this week?
35-14. He's supposed to be, yeah.
Yeah, that could help them. I mean, I think if you can get a little passing to open up things a little further for Stimmage, if they can consistently move the ball, that's the game within the game.
Yeah, grow a little bit.
Yeah.
A really impressive Lewiston team so far coming in to see Princeville. Can Princeville hang at all?
It's going to be an interesting game. You've got a Princeville defense that's once again pretty stout as it was last year. But Lewiston and Zach Duncan have just been so consistent, and the Howard kid kind of broke out this week. And I think the one thing that a lot of people are overlooking with Lewiston this year is that they still haven't really tapped Riley or Ian Simpson, their wide receivers. I mean, they haven't really had to go to the air yet, and when that happens, that's a complete offense.
IVC's coming off
a big win.
That puts them in the catbird seat.
They are in the catbird seat, exactly.
The NCIC Lincoln, but plenty of room to go for games to go. And this one is Rock Falls, which, was really an 0-9 miserable program for a while and isn't anymore.
Yeah.
But got slapped a little at Princeton to kind of create two divisions in that league, it seems.
Right.
It's IVC all day.
And we've seen Rock Falls in town this year. I mean, they can compete a little bit, so I don't know if it's going to be, I don't know if IVC is going to put it on them like they did Central a couple weeks ago, but I think at the end of the day, you'll see IVC pull out a, 2 or 3 touchdown win.
You look at a Rock Falls program that obviously bookends just 0-9s at 1-8 in a situation.
Yeah.
But to come back from a 20-6 deficit to Woodruff and win a game shows that there's a different mentality there.
Yeah.
We will be back next week. We will have everything in the Friday and Saturday paper that we usually have. These guys picking every game, capsulizing everything in the immediate area and a little beyond. And we thank you for joining us. Bye-bye.